So you said this is your fifth August that you're going to be taking offline. When you decided to do it 5 years ago, why did you decide to do it, and what was it like first time around?
Yeah, well, right before we started the live stream, you told me that my hair was looking quite good today. And it partly is connected to my hair, actually, because as you may know, I wrote about it in Don't Burn This Book. When I first started getting a lot of hate online, which I was not expecting to get, I started saying, hey, we lefties, I was a lefty at the time, we have to be more liberal, we have to defend free speech and Enlightenment values. And I thought everybody was going to be very open to that message. And I started getting some love from, the right side, let's say conservatives. But I didn't expect to get like an unending torrent of hate from people on the left. And that's what I was getting, mostly related to Twitter, but also Instagram to some degree, and Facebook and YouTube comments and everything else. And I didn't realize that I wasn't dealing with my stress well, but I clearly wasn't, because one day I was getting my hair cut, and my girl Jess, who's a friend of mine who cuts my hair, she showed me a mirror and she saw these big chunks of hair missing. And I developed something called alopecia areata, which is basically, it's your immune system just working against you. Your white blood cells start attacking your own hair follicles. I went for every blood test and every kind of, medical checkup that you could imagine. And there was nothing physically wrong with me. So they really can only chalk it up to stress. And at one point in that, and this is around 2015 or so, it was the end of 2015, into most of 2016, I lost probably about 40% of my hair. I went on a really awful experimental medication that the side effects were actually worse than losing my hair. I was bloated and itchy, and I was hot all the time. And it's even to talk about it, it's kind of depressing. But in essence, to answer your question, that really was the catalyst, because what I realized is look, there's a lot of great things about being online, and I love my life, and I love doing what I'm doing and communicating these ideas and talking to people like you and interviewing and all that stuff. But I wasn't managing the stress part right. And it wasn't just because I was getting hate. It's from staring at this little black mirror all the time. Think how many people spend more than 12 hours and 1 second a day looking at this thing. In essence, we have become the batteries for the Matrix. That's what the original Matrix movie is about, right? Us, the organic creatures that are we're the batteries, we're the flesh and blood and the energy for the digital world. And in many ways, that's what's happened already. Maybe the ship has long since sailed on that one. So I just put it together. I thought, you know what, I'm going to just try it. Let me try 1 month. I tried a couple of weekends here and there, but I was like, let me try a full month. Not only no phone, but no news, no current events, no TV. And that can be tough because, TVs are everywhere. You go to the gym, TVs are there. You go to get a burger, TVs are there. But really just disconnect and see what happens. And it's probably the best thing that I do. It really is.
I find that I tell people, I'll like even leave my phone in the office for the weekend and then go home and just respond to 100 texts Monday morning. But I'll say to people, maybe other people are just better at dealing with all this anxiety than I am, and that's why I have to put it away, and that's why I have to take a month off. Maybe I just can't handle it or control it. And they kind of nod sympathetically. And then I think, wait a minute. No, I don't think I'm terribly special. I think this is a problem for all of us. And maybe just most of us haven't realized it yet. So, yeah.
No, I think you're right about that. I don't think it makes us like weak that we want to do something like this, or that we actually do something like this. If anything, I think it shows that we're aware. So, for example, anytime in the last few weeks, now that we've gotten close to August, anytime I've been anywhere or had people over for dinner, or I'm in any conversation, or I do Q&As on my show, everybody wants to ask about it. Why do I do it? What do I do? Am I going to read? Am I just going to lay on the beach? Am I going to do little house projects? And all of those are actually part of the answer, and a bunch of other stuff. But everyone's sort of fascinated by it, which I think is so interesting because, look, I got my first cell phone, I think it was right before 9/11, because I remember I had a cell phone. I lived in New York City during 9/11. I remember I had a cell phone, but it wasn't even working. And because of all the craziness that day, obviously. But I remember thinking, like, I can't even believe I have one of these things. Now that's basically 20 years ago. And in 20 years, which I'm 45 years old, in 20 years, a little less than half of my life, this thing has become, in many ways, it's become sort of godlike to people, that this is the thing that is more important than anything else. How you will communicate, how you will ingest stuff, how you will present yourself to the world, and all that. And then when you factor in that we know we're being manipulated by algorithms, we know that it's destroying attention spans. I'll tell you one thing for sure, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this too. You see, I just made the double white power sign there. That was a complete mistake, by the way.
Right.
They're gonna, now I know Media Matter is going to come after me today. Whatever. That's partly why I go off the grid too.
Yeah.
But in terms of patience and attention span, I notice when I come back, that first couple weeks, especially if I really focus on it, my attention, my calmness, my small interactions with, say, the girl at the cashier at the grocery store or something, they're better, they're more authentic. There's like just like a breath. And it's like, everything's okay and going to be okay. So what I try to do is I try to use the month. It's not that I'm sitting in a meditation cave somewhere. It's not that I have a major plan. I really don't. We are going away for a little bit. We'll do some beach time. I am going to catch up on some reading because I didn't, like everybody else, I didn't travel much in the last year. That's usually when I do my reading. But I don't really have a grand plan beyond that. We're going to try to see some old friends and not talk about politics. But I think if you give yourself some space for that, you know this, when you come back, it's like, maybe I didn't miss that much. And maybe the world does go on without me. And maybe I'm not the center of the world. I mean, we all know these things, and yet we're obsessed. We're obsessed with this freaking device.
If you like that clip, be sure to like and subscribe. Cheers.